Geometry Dash 2.2 has been out for 10 days now, and is it really worth it? Was waiting 7 years for this update worth it? And what are my general thoughts about the update and what we've got after all these 7 years? Today I'm going to be talking about these topics, and I'm going to also correlate a bunch of things that happened before the update and see, because there are a bunch of things that were initially announced to be in 2.2, but after that they got removed from 2.2 and got delayed. So I'm gonna have to talk about those as well. And at the end, I'm gonna rank the update on, how good it is, from if it's worth the time, and also the originality and stuff like that. So let's start off with the very first 2.2 feature, which is probably gonna be Dash, the new main level. This level is absolutely brilliant. I think this is so far the best RobTop level ever, and I have said this in my earlier videos before 2.2 got released. I said that this level is going to be the best levels of all the main levels, and I think all of you guys agree with me when I say that this level is by far the best RobTop level. However, I do have a bunch of criticism about this level because it's sure not perfect. So the coins, I don't really like the coins that much, I'm not gonna lie, but I think overall the parts were designed so ridiculously well. Like, you can take a look at every single detail. You can repeat a part multiple times and you will not get bored. So for example, the part with the spider in here, you can see that the blocks explode. These like green particles come away, and then you have the shader on your player and the objects that rotate, and you have the camera zoom and stuff like that. I think this part is actually brilliant. I really like this part. I don't know why some people have so much against it, but I think it's very fine. So far the level is 10 out of 10 in my opinion. Still, until here, it's so good. The colors in here are so good. And then we move on to this part, and so far everything is perfectly fine, and this is where the sneak peek was cut off, and we can see that from there on things kind of went in a different direction, let's put it that way. Not gameplay wise though. I think the gameplay is still very fine, and that is something that I also mentioned before the update came out. I said that Dash is going to be the first level that is going to be playtested by some people before it gets released, and as a result it's going to have the best gameplay of them all, like less buggy and overall like a very functional way. You might say, well, Dash has a secret way at the end, but Dash has perhaps overall like 3 or 4 secret ways, but Deadlocked had like what, 20 or something. To this day it still has so many. So Dash having 3 or 4 major secret ways it's not a lot. It's really very few if you compare it to Deadlocked or Finger Dash or stuff like that. So the gameplay in here is really cool. However, I don't like how the atmosphere here just blacks out. Like, it just doesn't fit at all. Like, you see this part and you see this one. It really does not look like it's the same level. And I can see why this happened. It's because RobTop was rushed to finish this update on October, and he did manage to, but he still tried his best to make the level as polished as possible. Overall, about like the first part, I think RobTop introduces the player about the camera zooming, the camera movements, and the arrow trigger and stuff like that very well. Also the shaders. He basically teaches us how to use the shaders, like just like you saw in here, like a time warp that slows down the game to make this dramatic drop. I think this is very well made, and I think from there on people should just stop taking inspirations. And this part to me just feels like the part earlier, but kind of less cool. I don't know why. It's pretty much the same, but I think it's because it's dark and it doesn't really fit that level because it was so bright at the beginning. And yeah, so far nothing too much to complain about. And this part I think is fine. I don't have that much against this part. We have the shader use. I think it's a little bit overused, these like random shader parts. And yeah, I just collected the coin and died. This is also something that would happen in a RobTop level, of course. I also want to talk about why this level is not that good as I expected in the first place when we come to the tower. But for now, let's just continue our review on this level and see how good it is, because yeah, it's hard. I also think that in that bold part there was no music sync at all, I'm not gonna lie. And also this was like a little shader spam in there, but yeah. And now we get to this part, which I think RobTop made like in a few minutes, to be honest. This whole part, I don't think this took him that long. However, it's understandable because he had to rush the updates so fast. And I like the idea of introducing fans into the gameplay. However, this part, I think all of a sudden the level just has a big glow up. This part looks really, really, really cool. However, it doesn't fit that much with the style of the level at the beginning. I think this level switches styles way too much. I like levels that switch style, but not like way too much. You know what I'm saying? So like the colors at the beginning were red, you know, explosions and stuff like that. And then without anything happening, just we went into this cool looking like explorers colors level. And yeah, gameplay wise, I think this is very, very nice. However, the decoration kind of went off at where the sneak peek was cut off. So overall, I would give this level probably a 7 out of 10. I think that the beginning part, like the geometry dash and the swing copter part, they were done so well. I think the ending I hate, not the ending, like that part where the sneak peek gets cut off, that bolt part and also swing copter and a little bit further. I think that part I don't like at all, but the ending, the very last part was very cool. So that kind of like balances things out. And now let's move on to the tower. I think the tower, I have a lot of things to say about the tower. So Geometry Dash 2.2 was announced to have a platformer mode. And I think this is something that Ruptop wanted to focus on more than the normal gameplay, which is why we can see the majority of the new features in the editor are actually platformer related, which is also, I think, why Dash was not as good as people expected it to be. However, these levels, the platformer levels in the tower, are absolutely brilliant. They introduce the platformer mode so well. I think starting off really, really easy, just like with Stereo Madness, how you start off by really, really easy stuff, and then it slowly goes harder and harder, and it gets really, really challenging. I think these levels were done really, really well. And I also love the storyline in this. I think the usage of sound effects and also like every new feature that Ruptop was planning for 2.2, especially for platformer mode. You can see if you go onto the editor in here, so many features are 2.2 related and they were specifically made just for platformer mode. For example, the sound effects, they were made for platformer mode. The changing song and stuff like that. The area trigger was probably also made for platformer mode, and many other things were made for platformer mode. So I think this update rather focuses more on platformer mode, which is why I want to more focus on ranking the update on how good it is at doing that, at, you know, how good these levels are and stuff like that. Just like as if it was like a completely new game. Yeah, so here we can see that this guy has been following us for a long time, or we have been kind of distracting him a lot. So we fell into this trap, and in the next level we come out of this pipe. So it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. And this guy is kind of wanting to attack you, Almighty or something. I don't really know what he says. But as you can see, if you restart the level completely, this guy is gonna come and he's gonna say, Alrighty. And then if you die and come again, he's not gonna come anymore. So there is a new trigger that activates things on certain attempts. So this guy was only activated on attempt number 1. This is again more features that were added in 2.2 specifically for platform mode. I can't see the attempts thingy being used in normal mode, unless you want to make like a troll, you know, type of 69 attempt, get a triple spike at the end, stuff like that. Yeah, I think it's more used in platformer mode. And I specifically love this level and the next one. This level and the next one, I think, were so well designed. Like this one effect that I just showed you, like to get that coin in order, like, you know, you have to drop this guy on here and then it's like a big weight and then he escapes like that. That was very, very cool. When I first played this and saw that, I was mind blown. Like, you can do stuff like this in Geometry Dash? Are you for real? I knew there was something up there because of the platforms, but I thought there was just a blue coin like hanging there, but there was actually a switch, and all of this was manually made, which makes the game even better, I think. So overall, I think this part is actually really, really well made. And also you can see the door. The door was also just 2.2 features used for platformer mode. And this part is probably one of my favorite Ruptop parts. I don't know if it's the song that's way too cool or if it's like the intensity of this level, but this goes to show that platformer levels don't really have to be very, you know, player movement based. You can have like a wall like that you cannot speedrun. You basically have to wait exactly as the creator wants you to wait for, unlike the first level where you can like just famous yourself out of the level. In here it doesn't doesn't really work. And I think the atmosphere in this overall, like the shader using, the camera, the intensity of the song, I think it's all so perfectly made. However, I think the blue coins could have been a little bit more improved a little bit here and there. And yeah, the sewers overall very W level. And the next level is also one of my favorite levels. This is also very, very nice. You see these cool effects and stuff like that. I really like seeing stuff like this in platformer mode. See how he's like getting angry and stuff, and using these gimmicks like this guy shooting fire at you, I think is very, very cool. And here we have another like keyframing system that was specifically made for platformer mode. I don't think it's, you know, you can use it a little bit in normal mode, but not really usable for normal mode, you know. I don't like the fact that these coins are very repetitive, so all of them are just like, you know, hiding in a wall. The wall is cracked and then you gotta get the coin from there. And also here we can see the effect of scaling things on the X and the Y differently. These spikes were scaled a lot and it gives it like this sharp animation looking thingy. And in here you can see that the camera is slowly moving upwards so you can see stuff. And this part I find really dramatic and very nice. You can look at the smooth movements of the mechanical thingy behind him. And this is basically just more features that were specifically designed for platformer mode. And this one bomb dropping thingy, I was mind blown when I just dropped the bomb there and it just exploded like that. Like I just was so surprised that you can actually do stuff like that in 2.2. I think the atmosphere of this level in here also is so well made. Like the usage of the particle system in here, very nice. And also in here, the colors are so cool. I don't know what about the colors in here, but I think they are so good looking. And that's it for this level. Then we have the very last level. This level was the level that was probably made last, like quite a few weeks before the update came out. This was kinda finished. So I don't want to criticize it too much, but I think this part is lacking a little bit of air deco in comparison to the other parts. And here we can see like another example of the change background thingy or change the complete atmosphere of the level. And here we have another keyframing system type of stuff with some sound effects, which is also very awesome. You can like do storylines with this and you are locked in this cage that you can escape. And I think like in here, this level gets really fun. Like the song and the mechanics used in here, I think are very good. And in here we can see another like very cool gimmick where you change into the ball and now you are basically plagiarizing that you are a monster and you can enter this cool little game. I think when I first saw this, I was in absolute disbelief. I could not like I couldn't fathom that this is actually Geometry Dash. When I saw this part, I loved it so much. And I think this is probably one of the reasons why this level is so amazing in my eyes. And we have this part also where these guys just move like that. I think something like this is very fun, especially for levels like main levels. I think it's a very cool introduction. And then we have the boss fight. The boss fight I have a lot to say about. However, Robtop said a few like at near the end of November that he was still working on the boss fight, and we back then didn't know what boss fight he was talking about. But I think this goes to show he's using the UI trigger in here for the health bar and stuff like that. And I think this boss fight overall is very intense. However, I think a bunch of things that are lacking from this level are more ways to attack this boss, and it doesn't really make that much sense that he's helping you to attack him. Like he's sending that fireball, but if he just doesn't shoot that green fireball, you just wouldn't be able to kill him. So why shouldn't he just drop the red ones, you know? And the second thing is that this is lacking too many like background decorations. I think just adding like a little particle system, just like he did with the sewers, that little boss fight, you know, where the elevator was coming up really fast. There were like a lot of shaders, a lot of like particles and stuff like that. I think using like very simple stuff could make this a lot better. And the music sync in here is absolutely brilliant. I think the way he made it is very well. I like how he has more and more attacks the farther you go into this level. I really like this. And also when he jumps at you, we can see the effect of the area trigger, which I'm gonna show you in a bit. And now he's raging, absolutely. Here we can see, yeah, the spikes basically come like that and you die if you are not close enough to them. And yeah, this is all the boss fight. He doesn't really do anything else other than that. And yeah, I think this level overall has some very cool things. However, the boss fight I think could have been a little bit more tweaked and made a little better. And you can see that there's a floor 2, which I am really, really excited for because these levels were really, really well made. I can see that Robtop focused more on platformer mode to see if people liked it. And if they did, he said that he's going to add more stuff in 2.3 because he has a lot of ideas for platformer mode, and we're going to have to see. So the tower probably gets an 8.75 out of 10 from the, you know, how cool it is, how slowly it introduces the features, the platformer mode and stuff like that, and the boss fight at the very end, the storyline, stuff like that. I think it was very, very well made. All right, now let's talk about other things other than the main levels and stuff like that. So let's actually talk about stuff that has been delayed. And we have the versus mode, which has been delayed. We have the event, which has been delayed. We have the map, which has been delayed. So you can imagine this whole menu with simply lists and paths as a new button, and the Hall of Fame was completely removed. I think that it's completely fine that these features were removed for now because we just saw Dash. I really don't like that part after the sneak peek ended, and I especially don't want to see that in the versus mode. The versus mode initially was my favorite 2.2 feature, but it got delayed, and I really want to have a functioning versus mode where you can compete against each other. And Robtop has not said a lot about this new feature, which makes it even more exciting. But yeah, I think delaying this is fine for one reason and one reason only, which I'm going to talk about in a bit. And then we have the map, which is understandable. I don't know why I didn't think that this map is going to be locked, because this is going to be user platformer levels. Robtop already said that in the past. And how can you have the map with the user platformer levels if 2.2 has still not dropped yet, you know? So he's going to have to lock it and basically in the next update to drop it, just like the gauntlets. And then we have the events. We don't really know what that is. I have no idea what this is. This is like a level. It's like the weekly demon. I don't know how many levels we'll get in a year. I have no idea. And then we have the gauntlets. The gauntlets, I think, is something that I don't really have the word for, but I kind of want to explain what it is. So it's basically a lot of work that Robtop has done, but we are not going to see the effect or the results of the work until we wait a little more. So he has all of the art for the gauntlets done, and we're going to get more gauntlets, and it's just going to come as time moves forward. And I think the same thing goes for the editor. If you go on to a bunch of platformer epic levels, for example, take on a look at the best level, for example, this one is actually very, very cool. You can see that he used a completely new like gimmick where we have to completely dash into a door or a wall of rocks in order to get through that, which I think is very, very cool. And I think the potential of the update has still not been discovered. And I think the full potential of the update is nowhere near close, which is why I'm gonna go over why we don't have a legendary or a mythic level yet. And I think it's the exact reason why a level like this is rated epic. This level is rated epic right now, and the reason for that is because this was released a few days after 2.1 came out, and we can see that it doesn't really fit today's standards at all. I mean, if you make a level like this, you're not gonna even get a rate. However, this level is epic, and that's because it is a level that didn't really push the boundaries of the update. And I think so many levels that we have right now, the newer ones that are the 2.2 levels, I think they have not pushed the boundaries at all. And I think this is the reason why Robtop is not gonna rate any level a legendary or a mythic, because even if we get the most brilliant levels of 2.2, for example, where is it? If we get levels like this one is something absolutely mind-blowing. You would think that something like this would take months to develop, but it just came out and 2.2 was released 10 days ago. I think this level was even released like a few days ago, perhaps a week even. It's crazy. And yeah, seeing that something like this can already be made in 2.2 just proves that we should not have a legendary or a mythic level yet, because let's imagine this completely blew us out of our minds. Okay, we did not believe that something like this was possible in 2.2, but once we saw it, we were really, really shocked, and we thought, you know, let's give this a legendary. But this is the same thing with the first 2.1 rated level that I just showed you. This was something that was very cool. You know, the camera was rotating the first time. We have the rotate trigger and stuff like that, so it's a very cool level. But this time the standards are very, very low. We still don't know how to use most of the editor features. And I think with more time, the update is gonna, or not the update, the levels are just gonna get better and better and better. And I don't think we're gonna get any mythic level in the first 6 months. This is what I said. And perhaps a legendary we're gonna get in 3 months or something like this, because people by that point would probably then know how to use the 2.2 features. And you can't just give a level like this, like the one that we just played, the Terraria demon boss fight, a legendary, because this is just the beginning. People always blow our minds, so there's still so much waiting ahead. Another thing that was added was the paths. I think this is a very, very, very cool feature that we knew nothing about before the update came out, and it's just very, very cool for grinding. And the chests are also the same way. But now let's move on to the biggest feature of 2.2 probably, which is the editor. The editor has so many features, and I think with time it's gonna show that the update was indeed worth the wait. It's just gonna take a bunch of minutes. Right now 2.2 might not feel like it's worth 7 years, and that's perhaps because of the lack of levels or because of the lack of the RobTop levels. But I think over time it's gonna show, like, RobTop doesn't have to update this game anymore, and the community is still gonna come up with insane stuff after we have already waited the 7 years basically. So I think the full potential of 2.2 is still yet to be discovered. And if this is just the beginning and we have seen Mario, like this one Mario Kart type of Rainbow Road thingy, we have seen Terraria boss fight, and we are literally just 10 days into the update. Yeah, this goes to show a lot about the future of this game and how crazy levels are gonna be. So overall, the rating of this update, let's just rate it on, was this update really worth 7 years? I think for now it is not worth the wait. However, that's because the last thing that I mentioned, that we just have to wait a bunch of more weeks, perhaps maybe in the next few days we're gonna get like a new level that's gonna blow our minds and make us think that the update is indeed worth the wait. I mean, the possibility, I can't really rate if this update is really worth the wait, because we don't really see the full potential of the update. You can't really rate something that you don't know the majority of. I don't know the majority of the 2.2 editor. I don't know what people can do there. So I think in order to answer that question, we're gonna have to wait a little bit, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be 100% worth the wait, and even more with the levels that the people are gonna make. I think it's gonna blow our minds, and let's hope we don't get any too difficult levels, because I also like to beat levels. And yeah, 2.2 is overall very buggy. That's because it has so many features and it's been in development for 7 years. It's obvious that it's going to be so buggy, but RobTop is working right now on the update, and he has said that it's going to come out in the next few days. He only has like 3 more bugs to fix, and then we're going to get a bug fix update, which is going to fix you not being able to enter the scratch shop, this shop, and it's going to fix a lot of crashes in the editor. It's going to fix a lot of things in the icon kit. There are like duplicated icons and stuff like that. Also in the achievements, there were a lot of bugs in here. If you type the challenge, it's not going to appear, and so many things just crash the game. For example, my level, this one, if you click on this on mobile, you can no longer close it because there are so many sound effects. And don't get me wrong, I really needed every single one of these sound effects. People say it's all fire in the hole, but it's not. It's really not. I really needed every single one of them. So yeah, and a bug fix update is coming. So yeah, I don't think we can rate the update right now, but if I were to rate it, I would probably give it a 9 out of 10. A little bit of sadness about Dash, kind of disappointing seeing how the parts fell off, but if I take that out, it's probably a 10 out of 10, because I'm still having so many ideas about the editor, and I'm working on Hollow Dungeon Part 2, and it's looking absolutely insane right now. It's looking, guys, I don't know how your expectations too much, but 2.2's editor is very cool, and I can't wait to share with you guys more levels. And also Theory of Everything 3 or 2 recreation in 2.2 is still in the works. So yeah, I think this update was a cool update. That was definitely something that I would like to play. And yeah, I think this is it for this video. It was quite a long one, I know it's unusual, but I wanted to give my full thoughts, just speak out and not really worry about the time, because I don't really care about the time. If you guys watch until the end, then that's pretty cool. If not, then it's also fine. And if you have any thoughts about your experience with 2.2 so far. I know it's buggy and stuff like that, but comment it down below and let me see what you guys think. Was it really worth the wait? 7 years for Dash, the tower, and this huge monumental editor that we still don't know what the potential of is. I don't know if that was a correct sentence, but yeah. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, also on Twitch, and this is a cool shark or a dolphin. I don't really know. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.